There will come a moment, maybe it has already come, where the right move is to walk away from a situation, from a relationship, from a version of yourself that no longer serves you, from a life that fits like a costume you've been wearing so long you forgot it wasn't yours. And everything in you will resist it. Because walking away feels like losing. It triggers something ancient in us, the fear of abandonment, the shame of quitting, the weight of everything we've already invested. We have been trained, from childhood, to see persistence as virtue and walking away as failure. But there is a difference, a crucial one, between giving up and letting go. Giving up is quitting because something is hard. Letting go is releasing something because you finally see it clearly, because you understand, with honesty, that this path leads somewhere you don't want to go, or costs something you cannot keep paying. The person who walks away from a toxic relationship, even after years, even after real love, is not weak. They are finally strong enough to see what their hope was hiding. The person who leaves the career that pays well but empties them is not irresponsible. They have finally decided that a life spent in the wrong place is too expensive. The person who walks away from a friendship where they were always the giver and never the receiver is not cold. They are protecting something valuable, their own energy, their own peace. Walking away is a power move. It says, I understand my own value. I understand what I can afford to give. I understand that my time, my energy, my attention, these are finite resources, and I refuse to spend them where they return nothing. Most people stay too long, in the wrong job, the wrong city, the wrong version of themselves. They stay because leaving is uncertain, because people are watching, because starting over at 30, at 40, at 50 feels like admitting something, because the sunk cost, all the time, the money, the emotion already spent, seems like evidence that staying is the only rational choice. Sunk cost is a trap. What you've already spent is gone regardless of what you decide next. The question is never what have I already paid. The question is always what do I want to pay going forward? And more importantly, what is this actually returning to me? Be honest about that. Not brutally, not cruelly, but honestly. Look at the things in your life, so the commitments, the relationships, the habits, and ask, if I hadn't already invested in this, would I choose it today? Some of them you would, and those are worth staying for, worth fighting for, worth the hard days. Some of them you wouldn't, and those, the ones you're only maintaining because leaving feels harder than staying. Those are the ones that are slowly draining the life you're supposed to be living. I want to tell you something about the other side of walking away. The part nobody talks about while you're still in the middle of the decision. After you let go of the thing that was wrong, after the initial fear and grief and disorientation passes, there is a particular kind of clarity that arrives. It is not immediate, but it comes. A clearing of the air, a sense of space where something heavy used to be. And in that space, things begin to grow that couldn't grow before. Opportunities that couldn't find you while you were occupied. Relationships that were waiting for room to enter. Energy that was being consumed elsewhere and is now yours. This is why every meaningful life has chapters, and chapters require endings. The person you became in your 20s served a purpose. The relationship that shaped your early years served a purpose. The path you walked, even if it was the wrong one, brought you to the place where you can now see the right one. None of it is wasted, but none of it has to be permanent. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to grow beyond what used to fit. You are allowed to close a chapter with gratitude for what it gave you, with honesty about what it can no longer give. and begin the next one. This takes courage. More courage, sometimes, than staying. Because staying has the comfort of the familiar. Walking away requires trust. Trust in yourself. Trust that something better is possible. Trust that uncertainty is not the same as failure. Here is what I know about the people who make that walk, who close the door on the wrong thing and face the open space without knowing what comes next. They are scared. Every one of them. They don't walk away because they're fearless. They walk away because they've decided that fear is not a reason to stay. And on the other side of that walk, without exception, they find something that the comfortable version of them never could have reached. So, if you're holding on to something that you know, in the quiet place where you're honest with yourself, is the wrong thing to hold, consider this permission. You can let go. Not because it was worthless, because you know what you're worth. And what you're worth deserves more than what you've been accepting. Walk away. Not in anger, not in desperation, in clarity. And walk toward what you actually want. That walk changes everything.